Ainz and Mare walked toward the dark elf village in disguise. Mare wore ordinary clothes without magical properties. These outfits provided far less defense than his accustomed gear. Ainz had originally planned different costumes for the twins. The twins reported Bubbling Teapot's alternate gear was too decorative. Ainz provided ordinary Yggdrasil clothing instead. Ainz and Mare wore cloth masks covering their lower faces. Ainz sent Aura a message to meet them at the village entrance. Aura arrived with devotees, a rare ground-level gathering. Other dark elves watched from tree bridges above. Aura called out loudly, acting slightly embarrassed. Ainz responded cheerfully and set down his baggage. Mare whispered Aura's name too quietly for others. Their performance needed to establish the family connection clearly. Dark elves observed silently as Ainz approached Aura. Aura offered a strained smile while showing him around. Ainz found her nervousness cute but suppressed affection. He asked if villagers had provided lodging. Aura confirmed they had accommodations. Ainz suggested Aura take Mare ahead while he remained. Aura stumbled over her niece role, still adjusting. Ainz laughed and sent them off, urging Mare to rest. Ainz turned to face the gathered villagers. Half the village attended, including children, showing no hostility. Aura's followers studied Ainz with suspicion. He realized they feared he exploited Aura's abilities. Ainz decided to begin his performance immediately. He briefly removed his mask to reveal illusion-crafted features. Ainz claimed his tribe required men to hide their faces. Villagers accepted his explanation without offense. He introduced himself as Ain Bell Fior, the twin pseudonym. Ainz offered gifts and requested a table. A villager cast a spell, making a plank grow from a tree. Ainz unpacked dwarven metal blades as samples. He explained dwarven metal exceeded their magically hardened wood. The huntmaster examined the arrowheads with great interest. Ainz offered them as free gifts of friendship. The huntmaster hesitated, feeling indebted after Aura's help. Ainz mentioned rune-crafted magic items available for trade. The huntmaster's eyes gleamed at mention of runes. Ainz demonstrated a simple flame-producing rod. A bridge ranger asked bluntly if Aura was engaged. The question caught Ainz completely off guard. He realized the village wanted Aura's bloodline for themselves. Ainz admitted Aura was not currently engaged. The ranger introduced himself as Blueberry Agnia, looking relieved. Ainz noticed the food naming pattern among dark elves. Village elders arrived, interrupting the conversation. An elder tested Ainz with obscure dark elf idioms about saplings. Ainz responded with vague forest metaphors, impressing them. The elders replied with more cryptic tree comparisons. Ainz nodded emphatically despite complete confusion. The elders departed abruptly, leaving Ainz bewildered. Blueberry offered to guide Ainz to the twins' lodging. Ainz accepted, and Blueberry asked him to greet Aura. Inside the elf tree, Aura and Mare waited for him. Ainz reminded them to maintain their cover at all times. He explained they'd stay a week to learn dark elf culture. Aura questioned if this served the Slane Theocracy investigation. Ainz confirmed any information would be valuable. Valerian Ino Beignet studied casualty reports in his command tent. The Slane Theocracy's young strategist looked exhausted. Night raids from elves had inflicted heavy losses on Theocracy forces. Valerian understood the Theocracy deliberately held back the Firestorm scripture. The campaign served as brutal training for the coming war against the Nation of Darkness. The strategists pleaded for a full assault, but Valerian refused. Preserving the elf capital intact allowed evacuation plans for Theocracy citizens. Ainz, a wall gown, watched the Theocracy's inefficient siege with confusion. Aura and Mare accompanied him, also puzzled by the human tactics. Ainz concluded the Theocracy was either incompetent or hiding something. He decided to loot the elf treasury before the Theocracy could claim it. Under cover of perfect unknowable, the trio infiltrated the elf castle. They captured and questioned a servant, then disposed of her body. The castle seemed abandoned with no elite defenders in sight. On the treasury floor, they encountered Dichem Hogan, the elf king. Dichem possessed heterochromatic eyes and overwhelming arrogance. He instantly assumed Aura and Mare were his grandchildren. Ainz analyzed Dicem's health and mana pools, estimating level 70 plus strength. Ditem summoned Behemoth, his primal earth elemental guardian. Ainz maintained his invisibility while the twins engaged cautiously. Dichem's worldview disgusted Ainz. Kings demanded tribute but gave nothing. Aura challenged Decem's superiority, declaring only supreme beings deserved worship. Ainz broke his concealment when Decem reached for Aura. He punched Decem across the room, shattering perfect unknowable. Ainz announced a one-on-one duel to test Decem's capabilities. Ditem boasted about his elemental's invincibility while casting defensive spells. Ainz used Wall of Skeletons repeatedly to drain Decem's mana reserves. The undead Overlord cast Dimensional Lock to prevent teleportation escapes. Dixem grew frustrated as Ainz's defensive strategy continued. Ainz finally unleashed Triplet Maximize Magic, Cacophonous Burst. The explosive spell annihilated Behemoth in 6 devastating strikes. Ditem watched in horror as his invincible guardian crumbled to dirt. Ainz offered false mercy, demanding Deshem's surrender. The Elf King's pride refused, then crumbled under the pain of a reality slash. Ditem fled in terror, abandoning his kingdom and his dignity. He ran to his chamber seeking supplies and escape. No death, no life waited there. The Theocracy's secret weapon and his estranged daughter. She smiled coldly at her wounded father, greeting him with murderous intent. No, death crushed Decem beneath her boot, avenging her mother's suffering. Mare arrived at the scene, finding his target already dead. He confronted No Death, who mistook him for her niece. No, Death activated her ultimate talent. The goal of all life is death combined with death. Mare survived through unknown means, shocking his opponent. The Theocracy's champion created an Einherjar duplicate of herself. Mare summoned an earth elemental, then revealed his micro-catastrophe ability. The devastating spell obliterated the elemental, the Einherjar, and No Death herself. However, Mare deliberately held back, keeping No Death barely alive. Ainz and Aura looted the treasury, finding only natural magical items. They rushed to Mare's location upon receiving his message. Ainz decided to interrogate the captured warrior at the frozen prison. He summoned Pandora's actor to retrieve Ditem's body and possessions. The Theocracy's plan had been training soldiers while using No Death against ATM. Ainz realized multiple clues pointed to a player influencing the Theocracy. He refused to send spies, fearing unknown defenses like Nazarick's. The group returned to the great tomb of Nazarick with their prisoner. Valerian learned the castle had fallen with no resistance from Decem. He prepared to send No Death in, unaware she had already fallen. Ainz faced a new puzzle. No, Death had copied both his and Shaltyr's signature abilities. Mare explained the survivors' incredible vitality and combat prowess. Ainz prepared for interrogation, knowing this prisoner held vital secrets about players. Albedo greeted her master at the ice prison upon his return from the elf country. She returned to her office and resumed her duties. Conquering the Riestice kingdom had expanded their domains dramatically. Her workload had increased proportionally. Albedo's abilities specialized in domestic affairs, so the work gave her little trouble. Most cities had been burned to the ground, taking thorny occupational politics with them. She devoted considerable mental energy to creating internal resource documents for future conquered countries. What worked in Irantel might work at a national level, but growing pains seemed inevitable. Cities and countries each had unique requirements, so approaching them separately would prevent future problems. Different races and cultures, complicated universal application, but the bare bones outline should prove useful regardless. Once written, she planned to consult Demiurge and Pandora's actor, then seek Lord Ainz's final approval. Their input would refine her work further. She considered consulting that girl as well. Her master was the wisest of them all and could spot issues the others might miss. But as head of the Floor Guardians, she could not present flawed documents. While processing her desk pile, a sudden message startled her. The voice commanded Albedo to come to the ice prison immediately. She sensed towering rage behind her master's thoughts. High-level beings required resistance to mind control effects, and every Floor Guardian had protective measures. Despite her immunity, Albedo felt genuine fear from the raw emotion alone. Her mind raced with a terrible possibility. Had he discovered her secret experimental project? Had Demiurge detected it and informed him? No other explanation came to mind for such fury. Albedo activated her ring's power and transported to the ice prison. Her master stood before the cage housing their half-elf prisoner. Neuronist, the domain guardian, waited behind him alongside Aura and Mare. Ainz's expression remained unchanged, but towering fury radiated from him regardless. Albedo immediately prostrated herself on the cold floor. She apologized profusely without knowing the specific offense. Ainz sounded genuinely confused by her apology. Albedo swiftly concluded she had misread the situation. She offered her prepared excuse. As captain of the Guardians, any displeasure in Nazarick was her fault, and she besmirched Lord Tabula Smaragdina's reputation. Ainz corrected her misunderstanding immediately, clarifying his fury was not directed at Nazarick at all. Albedo breathed an authentic sigh of relief. She asked what had caused his anger. Ainz told her to raise her head and stand, as he disliked seeing the faultless bow. Albedo thanked him and rose to her feet. Aura and Mare exchanged dubious glances, which concerned her, but she focused on her master. She asked if the prisoner had provided unpleasant information. He had been using control amnesia to extract data. Memory examination required weeks for surface-level scanning and years for deep sorting. The technique only revealed what subjects believed to be true, so deception remained possible. Certainty required multiple subjects, and nobody had time for such thoroughness. Simpler information-gathering methods proved more practical. Ain spoke a single word, Shaltier. That name conveyed everything to Albedo. She asked who the prisoner was associated with. Ainz repeated her name in acknowledgement. Albedo bent a knee in preparation. Her master announced a complete shift in priorities. Everyone not required for Great Tomb of Nazarick, defense would suspend current work. They would invade and destroy the Slane Theocracy at once. The Theocracy had started the fight, and Nazarick would finish it. Ainz's tone was gentle, but the emotions behind it were pure rage. Albedo could not recall him ever being this angry. She agreed immediately and pledged to alert all floor guardians. Ainz commanded her to begin preparations now. His kindly tone made her shiver. Albedo bowed low and prepared to execute his will.